Trent, this is pretty good stuff. I mean, I know it's not finished, but the thing I really like about it is it's very clear that you tuned into some of today's lesson, and from that you're really using those transitional words and phrases. And so the quality of your writing, and I've talked to you about this before this year, is sometimes that you write how you speak. And even though your ideas are good, the quality of your writing and the sophistication of your writing, which is probably the thing we've talked about most of all, sometimes is lacking. And because of those transition words and just those sentence starters, the quality of your writing here is much improved. And that's really good to see. We talked about I'd probably scrap that first sentence where you did start off with a bit of a universal, general kind of waffly intro, but then you got straight into it. At first glance, I'm from a country town. Great. Attack the prompt straight away. Get into it, or address the prompt straight away, I should say. That's really good stuff. I really like too, later on when you refer to Kinsella's poem, you said, these events are never explicitly mentioned by Kinsella, however, I get the impression. Excellent. At the start of the year, you would have been writing things like, Kinsella says that the farmers were trapped on their farm. And he never actually says that. Instead, you're setting it up a lot better here, and you're saying, well, I get the impression that, even though Kinsella doesn't say it, I get the impression that. It's a really good piece of writing, so I think you should be pretty happy with that. My main just advice for you, and obviously it's not finished, is with your paragraphs, try and keep reminding yourself, what's my main point that I want to make in this paragraph here? All right, because sometimes you kind of get off topic and you finish your paragraph with almost a different point than what it seems you start your paragraph with. And so try and come back to that central idea as a way to finish off your paragraph. So, for instance, in the first paragraph, you talked about how you're from rural Australia, you've got Irish heritage, and being over there helped you have a sense of where you'd want to live. And then, sorry about the phone ringing in the background. But then later on, you've kind of talked about how you've signed off with just a little offhand comment of saying, oh yeah, but I guess if I grew up in a hot place, I'd probably want to live there. And it wasn't really the point that you were making. You were making a point that you want to decide where you live. Landscape determines our sense of place in the world. You felt that after a visit to Ireland, that's where you belong. And so I really think that maybe a better finish for you would have come back to, despite Kinsella's descriptions of, or because of Kinsella's descriptions of a place being burnt out to the core, I've decided that even if I grew up in a place like that, it wouldn't determine my sense of place. In fact, it might have determined my sense of place to the point where I knew that I didn't want to be there. I want to be in a place that's more like the Irish, fields that I felt comfortable in when I visited there. So really stick with your main point throughout the paragraphs. And again, in the second paragraph, you do the same thing. You start really well talking about, because of where you live, it gives you a great sense of where your family is economically. You finish with the point about farmers being trapped on the farm. What's your main point in this paragraph? And always just be asking yourself that, and come back to it at the end. Have something to say about that point in the paragraph at the end of each paragraph. Try and finish it off strongly. So that's my main advice for you. But this is some of the best writing I've seen from you this year in terms of the sophistication of it, and it's because of those transition words and sentence starters. So that's something that you should be feeling pretty confident with. Well done.